You're listening to the Business and Life Podcast, where 7 days a week, proven entrepreneurs share their success stories, failures, and give you true value on how you can build a great business and an awesome life. With your host, Mike Olivas.
What is happening, guys? Today we are chatting with Shahid Durrani, who was a serial entrepreneur with businesses in the medical, advertising, and digital products fields. All right, Shahid, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for taking the time. So tell our listeners something interesting about yourself and also where you're calling in from today.
I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Interesting. I'm an influencer. I'm active on Instagram. I have multiple businesses. All have been pretty much affected by COVID. But you know, like we're known and experts in pivoting. So I'm and then basically the clinic that we own is called Absolute Health Center.
Okay.
And as I created a unique marketing program for it to get quality patients coming in. So it was very successful, and we were seeing patients come from all over GTA. Like we have patients coming in, like traveling for an hour. You know, some of them an hour 15 to get care, where clinics are a dime a dozen, right? So
wow.
Yeah, the program is really good. We're creating it so other clinics can take advantage of it globally. So that's what I'm working on right now. That's the pivot that I'm doing.
That's the pivot. Yeah. We have a lot of time to be creative now, don't we?
Oh yes, and I'm working a lot harder and a lot more now being at home.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, I'd love to ask you about that since you mentioned it. I mean, given our current situation with the COVID-19, outbreak and its effect on entrepreneurs and business owners worldwide, unfortunately, especially now, Canada, States, you name it, we're in dire need of revenues. And it's just, unfortunately, we don't know when that's going to happen, right? When it's going to open up. But can you share with us how it specifically has affected your business? Did the revenues just stop?
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to be close, with patients, and our business is all hands-on, right? Like we're actually, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical practitioner, but our practitioners, they have to be very hands-on with the patient, right? So it's for the safety of others and everyone, and especially our demographic is usually over 50 or 45,
Yeah.
And the pains. And, we didn't want to risk the communities and everything. So we wanted to kind of protect them. We stopped treating patients like about a week before the announcement happened, because we said, okay, the government, something's wrong. Like they have to do something, because we don't want to, right? And then we were hearing people, dying and stuff. So we were worried. And then like 5 days, I believe it was, and then an announcement came that, do not, everything's closed down, non-essential, right? For us, it had a different effect because the location that we're at, basically some people kind of spread some rumors because there was a lady that passed out in the parking lot.
Sure.
Yeah, in January, and that's when all the news was coming about in China in January, like mid-January.
Yeah, that's right.
So this lady fell, and then people started going on social media and WhatsApp and stuff, saying that she had, corona. Back then, COVID wasn't the word; it was corona. So, she died of corona, and she just passed out, and it wasn't related to corona. But since then, January, like our basically our patients stopped coming, right? Because it was just too risky, because our demographic, like I said, is over 50, over 45. So the effect has been, piling up since then.
What kind of tough decisions have you had to make? I mean, talk about maybe employees, or what have you had to do? I mean, have you had to shut down and then temporarily, or how does that work?
Yeah, shut down, and we may have to see how it goes, because I feel that the situation, you have to make those tough decisions, right? Either you don't go in a hole, or you stay and then you go in a hole, and then you have to try to recover. That's right? So it depends, because government, they're doing their best, but the support, the help, it was just late, right? It's not like if it's impossible for them to support businesses the first week, so they have to structure it as well. So it's not fair to say that give it right away. But by the time the help came, there's a lot of damage was done, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think the world is seeing that across the board. And I'm not sure what the economic plan is in Canada, but I know in the States, of course, it's just not happening fast enough. And if it is, it's we got 1.7 million companies out of about 30 million that have been funded. Like that's just less than 5%, right? And so there's a lot of companies that they won't get out of it. They won't survive. It is what it is, but like, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, they're just waiting, and nobody can wait. People aren't getting unemployment checks. I mean, it's just for lack of better terms, a shit show, I think, on many levels. And it's unfortunate, man, but it is, so I appreciate you kind of giving your feedback and also kind of sharing your story about it's rough, because I want to make sure a lot of our listeners get that, because everyone else, there's so many people and there's millions of small businesses going through this. What specific advice would you give those guys that are going through something like this right now, Shahid?
Well, I feel like in the media, you don't hear much about the business side of it, because
of course, it's all health, right? Of course it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. But basically, majority of businesses are affected. Other the ones that are like online, and the ones who are in educational, online educational stuff and doing stuff online, they actually grew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Majority of businesses, they don't have that structure, right? So they're affected. The advice I give is just spend majority of your time trying to figure out pivoting.
Yeah.
So what a good recommendation would be, you just sign up for Asana, some kind of project management tool, and then create boards and try to figure out, brainstorm, email your customers, ask them what they want, what they're looking for, what kind of support are they looking for, and try to find if there's a way to kind of do something. Like in our industry, there is a way to do like the online treatment. They were doing here. I find it personally, I don't find it, I think it's just like, it's not effective, right? Like it's just talking to patient, billing and charging. I just don't think it's right. So I didn't want to go down that road. So, because if we're going to treat, we need to provide results. We're not able to provide results online in our industry.
Sure.
But in you guys, you could figure out something there. It could be that you're doing a service and you can change it to a product. We couldn't change it to a product because we can't just send a physical therapist to someone's house as a package, right? As a product. So, but there's businesses that you can create a product and start shipping them out instead of the service. So find that solution, work hard at it, create it, and just be positive about it. Like have a optimistic kind of view, because things are we're going to be talking about this in the future, and it's just going to be old news. We just got to take this time and develop, learn,
What's happening, Life Nation? Michael Levis here. This is a time to do the right thing, not the profitable thing. I'm giving away COVID-19 business strategy sessions for free. I promise to give you my honest advice and coach you on a strategy that I feel would be best for the longevity of your business. I'm not asking you for your money, but in the interest of being able to help as many people as I can, I am asking you to be ready with your 1 to 2 specific questions so we can jump right into it. Go to michaellevis.com/coaching and simply schedule a call on my calendar. That's MIKEOLIVAS.com/coaching. Yeah, absolutely. Optimism is what it's so important to stay positive, because it's easy to kind of crawl up into a ball in the corner and just wait. And we're, people that I help and coach, of course, as well. The idea is just reminding them that if they're those people that are going to truly fight through this and pivot, like you mentioned, and understanding what pivot is, like how do I pivot, redefine, strive, and survive through this, because it's total survival of the fittest situation. But those who do that prepare themselves to be in a great situation when it inevitably comes back and everyone is excited to travel again or buy again or have to simply be involved on any kind of health level, like for your companies, it's going to happen. But those that are there and versus waiting it out, it's just waiting it out, are going to be the ones that are eons behind people like yourself that are pivoting, right? Just preparing themselves to be in the best possible position. So I just want to make sure that the listeners, that they're understanding what pivot is, And so I think Asana, right? That's a great idea. Dropping down some ideas and projects and start breaking it out.
Yeah, just putting it down on paper, but Asana is just easier. And if there's other, stakeholders involved, you can assign it to them and discuss together, right?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is you got to figure out a way to kind of survive. And there's a lot of companies that are doing it right now.
Sure.
If they can, if it's possible. But yeah, like right now is not the time to be, binge watching Netflix, right? It's the time to take advantage of the stuff that's online to improve yourself. I've done like 4 courses already. So
yeah, ditto. Same here. Yeah, it's good.
That's what I recommend to everybody that I support, is that I always tell them that just utilize this time. Don't get depressed. Don't think about negative stuff, right? Think about positive stuff and improve yourself. This is an amazing opportunity we have here. It's a reset, if you look at it, right? It's the economical reset.
Yeah.
Find that opportunity. This is the time when people have those huge companies. 2008, that's when we had all these new faces, all these big brands that are today. A lot of them came from 2008, that crisis, right? So,
absolutely.
This is a really good time to reset. And who knows, your listeners, there could be a whole bunch of guys in there that are coming up with something right now that'll be the future big company, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's putting people's back against the wall that we're comfortable, and you're going to see some of those just really cool. I think there's been a lot of innovation. When you're forced to have innovation, it's unfortunate, but when you're forced to be creative, because everyone benchmarks things off of dollars, right? For the first time, probably ever since the Great Depression, like we've been able to have creativity be what moves us or motivates us, right? Like what's going to put us to the next level, and it's creativity. Like what's going to, drawing the line down the piece of paper, saying what's necessary in my business and what's not. On a P&L sheet, what's necessary and what's not. People are doing that. I did it for my companies, and everyone else is doing it too. Like, hey, and it's hard. Tough decisions are being made, but I agree with you. I think listeners, us as entrepreneurs together here, us two on this phone call, on this Zoom call here, that we're having to be creative on how we're going to prepare ourselves when the time comes. And also, I think you had a great point. Just create a new skill set. It's going to give people the idea, like, hey, listen, you might have been in sales for the longest time, but had this great idea that I want to start a company, or I want to be a sales coach, right? Yeah. Or whatever it might be. Like, there's so many different people that are coming out of the woodworks that are just like, hey, I don't have I've been with a company for 20 years, for example, and I have a friend, and they just got dropped. I get it. They get it too. Like, it's not their fault or anyone's fault. It's COVID's fault, right? So they're all coming up with new inventions, I think, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell us, out of all your successes and failures, Shahid, what is one piece of parting advice that you'd give to the business and life listeners today?
Piece of advice for, failing is normal, because without failing, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
Failing acts, right? You got to give it. Like, everybody has to give it. If somebody says that they're successful without failing, it's kind of, I don't know if it's true, because there's no way, so people are going to fail even today. During COVID, there's no reason to kind of point fingers or blame whatever. You are responsible for yourself. Why not improve yourself, pivot, figure out a way, and create something huge? This is what I would recommend right now, is that we are all waiting for you guys, somebody to come up with an amazing idea. We're going to give you our money in the future.
Yep.
Just come up with, work hard, figure out something, pivot. And we're there to support you. We want the economy to work.
Absolutely. Pivot, learn, don't be afraid to fail. It's some great knowledge bombs. Thank you so much for dropping that to us today. Before we let you go, where can people find you?
The best way right now is Instagram. I don't know if you're going to share it there, but I'll just tell you it's official Shahid Durrani. So official, then SHAHID DURRANI. I'm active on Instagram, and I'm going to have my website and everything. I'm reconstructing right now, part of the pivoting.
Sure.
And so, but Instagram is the best way, because it'll be updated with everything.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for dropping some knowledge bombs with us today, Shahid.
No problem, Mike. Thank you so much for having me.
Life Nation, you got to remember that in order for things to change, you must change. And in order for things to get better, you must get better. You just got better by hanging out with me, Michael Libas, and the Business and Life Nation. So come back tomorrow, because I'm here dropping sound bombs 7 days a week, baby. If you'd like to subscribe, please do, so you can take action and execute. See you tomorrow.